Our next guest is presenting a bold initiative to accelerate medical breakthroughs in a way that could change all of our lives. As co-founder of the American Center for Cures, he's on a mission to bring Americans together to cure the world's most chronic and deadly diseases. Please welcome Lou Weisbach. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, you've been working towards this vision for more than 25 years. What inspired you to get involved in this?
So I was brought in by the Clinton administration a long, long time ago, 27 years ago, actually, to be the head of the Jefferson Trust, which was the largest donors in America. And through that, I traveled with the president all the time, and I was able to understand firsthand how he was able to bring people together to get things done. Yeah. And I had just finished running a public company, which I ran for 27 years, and I wanted to do something that made a difference. And so I sat down one day with somebody I met through the president. His name was Dr. Rick Boxer, and who's now on the board of the National Cancer Advisory Board, by the way. And we sat down and said, if you really wanted to prevent and cure diseases, how would you go about it? And we realized that you wouldn't do anything that we did then or that we do today. Nothing. Because the only way you get anything done in business is by having the right amount of money, the right leadership, the right business model, the right accountability, and a sense of urgency. And when it comes to curing diseases, we don't have any of those. We have a lot of people who really care deeply and try to help, but their hands are tied behind their backs. And so we sat down and said, if we really want to get the job done, how would we do that? And we put the model together, which we're here to talk about today.
Well, and you're not talking about just curing one or two huge diseases. You want to cure more than a dozen. It's an enormous vision. Explain your mission and how you're hoping to achieve it.
We're raising $750 billion by a bill that goes through Congress. And most importantly, especially for the audience, this is a bipartisan bill. So in America right now, where we're so divided, the idea that we have an issue that's the exact same for every one of you in the audience here tonight, every single one of you has lost somebody in the last 5 years or watched somebody suffer from a disease that doesn't even need to exist anymore. But there's no business that takes care of it. It's nobody's responsibility. All the money's made in treatment, but not in preventing and curing.
Yeah. By a show of hands, who in the audience has been impacted by cancer? Raise your hand. Diabetes, Parkinson's, I'll go up on that one, or one of these other diseases in the any of them in the last 5 years. Got it? That shows you the effect.
No, I agree. If all of us, you in the audience, everybody back at home, want to make a difference, what are you willing to do? The people in Congress and the president work for us.
Have you told them that?
And we need to demand from them. We don't need to ask them. They work for us. We need to, especially with the midterm elections coming up, we need to demand from them that this become a priority.
Well, I want to talk about the number that's getting everyone's attention, $750 billion in funding to make it happen. Where does that money come from?
So that comes from a bill that goes through Congress where the Treasury sells $125 billion worth of bonds every year for 6 years, which gives $750 billion. And the cost to the government is interest only. So the first year, $6 billion. So to have 16 separate organizations, one whose job is to prevent and cure Parkinson's, one whose job is Alzheimer's, one whose job is breast cancer, one whose job is pancreatic cancer. So you go down the list. So our job is to put all the foundations out of business. The Parkinson's Foundation, we want to shut them down. We don't want everybody to all of a sudden be walking around looking at people shaking when they don't have to shake anymore. Yeah. So that the money comes from bonds, but it's such a no-brainer just because of the fact that it will ultimately cost the American government nothing at the end of the day because of the things that we come up with that aren't curative and preventative. We are going to take those compounds and license them to the pharmaceutical industry. And as you know, when you spend a lot of money on research, you're going to have all kinds of things that come out of it that you're not looking for. So the great drugs of the future are going to also come from the American Center for Cures, but the government's going to get licensing fees that's going to pay for the interest on the money that we're using for the American Center for Cures.
Lou, tell me if I'm getting this right, though. From all of this, we've all been affected by these illnesses. We all know people who have suffered from these illnesses. Everyone wants them gone. What you're telling me is there's money in keeping them around, which is why they haven't been cured yet.
We certainly can cure almost every disease that's out there. And the low-hanging fruit, by the way, is diabetes, the first one, both forms, that's going to get cured. But, there's a lot of special interests that really don't want to cure diabetes because they make a lot of money on it. But I want to say one thing. Our pharmaceutical industry has done remarkable things for all of you in the audience in terms of our daily lives and in terms of how when we are feeling badly or our children are feeling badly, we walk into a drugstore and there's something over the counter that we can get that's fantastic and we feel much better 20 minutes later. So I don't want this to be a knock on the pharmaceutical industry, but their job, we have to understand this, their job is not to prevent you from getting sick or to cure you. And our job is. And the American Center for Cures is going to take that responsibility on, and we're going to get that job done.
Well, so you're tackling this mission, as you mentioned, as a bipartisan initiative, and it requires federal leadership. So how are you working with the current administration to move this forward, especially as it's cut a lot of research funding?
Yeah, so actually, the current administration cutting research funding has been a blessing in disguise. And I'm sure all of you, first instinct is that what a terrible thing it was. And I understand.
That's what I thought it was.
And I understand that. But what happened because of that is that it made everybody in the research community look at what they were doing and the lack of accountability and the money that we were spending that wasn't getting the job done and turn to us and say, you know what, we understand that to get that kind of money and get more money for research, that we have to be accountable at the end of the day. And we have to be part of a larger organization that is interconnected
and streamlined,
but that's going to get the job done. And think about how quickly the COVID vaccines, which normally take 7 years to develop, got done. 7 months. 7 months. And what was the reason for that? The reason for that was because there was going to be a $4 trillion spend. And so all of a sudden, all the obstacles along the way were pushed aside, and they got the job done. But when we get close to a cure for pancreatic cancer, which there is one for, or to stop heart attacks, which we have, all of a sudden the government comes in and says we need 7 to 12 years worth of trials. And it never gets done, and the people who are running these run out of money. So we're ending that.
Well, and what conversations have you had with this current administration so far, and how receptive are they to your proposal?
So we've had short conversations, including with the president's son recently, and we're expecting to meet with the president. And I believe that, and I don't want to be political here, and I know a lot of people want to be political, but I think this is a president, regardless of how you feel about him, that is willing to do anything that he thinks should be done. And I think that's clear by what's happening right now. And I think that this would not be something that he would shy away from. He doesn't shy away from much of anything that he wants to do. And so I think we have an opportunity with him. But basically, the important thing here is to get both parties. We're sick of both parties not working together. This is 100% issue.
They also make money by not solving problems.
Exactly. And you're absolutely correct. And this is an issue that we need as citizens of this country to demand that the people who work for us, both parties, sit down in a room on a 100% issue, an issue that's the same for all of us, and pass this legislation.
Well, for those watching right now who believe in this idea, this mission, what can they do to help move it forward?
So people who are watching this that want to help, and all of you in the audience, can, number one, write to your congressman, write to your senators, write to the White House and demand it. But more importantly, do reels on social media. Get on social media, talk about it, and get people to create a movement. So a couple of things that we are working on right now is we're working on a national march around an issue that's the same for all Americans, which wouldn't have a counter-protest. So right now we all sit and watch TV and we see all the issues that are out there. And of course, there's counter-protesters on the other side because we don't all agree about guns. We don't all agree about all the issues that people protest about. This is something that we can all agree on. So let's all demand that Congress works together to get this done. And enough of this stuff where you point fingers on every news broadcast at the other side of the aisle. This is at least for 100% issue. Let's get people to work together and maybe create the basis to be able to do that going forward on other issues that we can agree on.
Well, Lou, I really hope this all works out because it's a beautiful vision and a beautiful mission.
We're excited to be able to have this opportunity with Sarah and appreciate her inviting us on this show today. But want you to all know that we're with you and we're going to do everything we can to make this happen. But we need your help.
Well, Lou, thank you. Thank you so much for
Welcome.
joining us today. And to learn more about the American Center for Cures, visit our website. Have a great day.